I would like the Victorian government to listen to the queer community and actually ask us what we want and what can help us, as opposed to just making choices on behalf of us. So maybe speak to people like the Melbourne Bisexual Network or the Bi Alliance, or maybe our multiple task forces.
Given that it's 2018 right now, we'll have about 32 years to prepare, so I think we'll be able to cope. As long as we, build more high-rise apartments, become more like Asia, I guess.
Yeah.
I think more exposure to green spaces, particularly in inner urban suburbs, is an incredibly important aspect of the well-being of people's lives. There's even research going into higher exposure is better for healing rates, things like that. It's also an increase in opportunity to exercise and to feel good in the environment you live in.
So with the population increase in Melbourne, we're going to see that resources are going to become far more scarce. I mean, it's already really hard to get an appointment with the Swinburne clinic because it's just so crowded. And that's going to see a rapid decline in the state of mental and physical health of our residents.
The most important thing is that the locals should be more friendly to international students.
It makes me sort of not want to catch public transport and want to drive. But then again, I'm a student and I can't afford to drive to uni, and then there's traffic on that as well. So it seems like it's almost like a lose-lose situation at the moment. And I just hope that in the future that the infrastructure can be improved.
Bus from Skye to Frankston, and then Frankston all the way up to Richmond, then change lines and then get here. So it's quite a long travel, yeah.
So how long would it take you to get?
If I'm getting dropped off, it's only an hour 20, but with the bus, it's like an hour 40.
I might be being a bit too specific because I'm thinking about myself, but making life more livable for me in the future would be giving undergraduates more access to placements and getting out there in the world instead of just being in university all the time, and maybe, I guess, just giving mentorship opportunities. I think that's really important because you don't really know unless someone tells you. And that's just specific to my experiences at university.
I think it might be even like a social thing. People have the idea of like the Australian dream being like the backyard and everything like that, having that land. Maybe that assumption could be changed and people can start living in skyscrapers or apartment living, that type of thing. That could help. But I think it's more of a social.
So instead of going to doctors and then they direct you to counselling and things like that, I think there should be centres around area suburbs and that where you can just freely walk in and have someone to talk to instead of having to book appointments and waiting and stuff like that.
At the moment, I feel like they're only thinking about one type of system where there's so many ways to actually go about building a community. Instead of building out, building up, but at the same time just making sure that you maintain the balance between actually having some sort of nature as well as a lot of concrete. You got to keep that healthy balance, otherwise people just get sick and it's not ideal.
And in high school we have the ATAR thing where we're just versing everyone else. It's more of a battle of who's better than the others instead of finding what they're good at and stuff. So it's better to instead cancel the ATAR thing instead of versing everyone. Just find out what they're good at and making sure that you're a name, not a number. And in high school we have the ATAR thing where we're just versing everyone else. It's more of a battle of who's better than the others instead of finding what they're good at and stuff. So it's better to instead cancel the ATAR thing instead of versing everyone. Just find out what they're good at and making sure that you're a name, not a number.
Or not. It fluctuates depending on where you are. Inner city is great if you can afford it. Suburbia is the same as everywhere else and isn't all that great. I like living in the inner city because I like being able to walk to everything. Or jump on a tram for 2 minutes, jump on a train. You can't do that out in the burbs. So it's Melbourne's very livable if you live in the livable part.
It's probably for students like us, it's a bit expensive in some areas, especially closer to uni. They think the landlords take advantage of the location and charge us a bit more compared to the other suburbs. So I see a lot of people living very far away to uni as well. And public housing, not entirely sure because I've not been in those shoes. But especially private housing, I think it's a bit more expensive, and there should be more help from the government or someone.